The director of an Oscar-nominated documentary exposing the ugly side of natural gas drilling says he's been blacklisted from Capitol Hill. Josh Fox, the director of Gasland, was arrested. You see the video here yesterday while trying to enter a House hearing without the proper credentials. We'll ask him about that part. But the Subcommittee on Energy was meeting to examine an EPA report on possible water contamination from this drilling. But instead of letting him in, Capitol Hill police hauled him off in cuffs.
This is a public hearing. I'm within my First Amendment rights, and I'm being taken out.
And joining me now live, Josh Fox, right here in studio. Thanks for joining me, Josh.
Thanks. It's great.
You said you've been going nonstop since the arrest yesterday. First, let me ask you, why did you have the proper credentials?
Yes, we had the Bill of Rights. That's the Congress shall make no law that infringes upon freedom of the press.
But isn't there a protocol for press?
Well, yeah, there is protocol,
yeah.
and we went through the proper channels to appeal to the chair of the committee. We talked with their staff, and they said, we're going to get back to you. This was a Tuesday night at 8:30. We had been through a rigmarole with them all day on email. They're going to let us in. They're not going to let us in. Then they said they're not going to let us in.
So I get the impression you thought they were trying to stall you anyway.
No, actually, I got the very sincere impression that they were trying to be obstructive. Yeah. And this is where we had to weigh our options. Are we getting on the train and going in no matter what? Or are we going to allow them to bully us out of these sessions? Because this has happened before. We've appealed to, especially in this Republican Congress. The Democrats had no problem letting us in to tape all sorts of hearings. But since the House changed, we've had a lot of flack just trying to get in the door and have been backed off before. So this time, this is a very personal issue.
When you were in the hearing, what did you hope to capture? I know you're working on a sequel to your explosive, no pun intended, documentary. I mean, if you've not seen the documentary, literally, the drinking water coming from the faucet in people's homes lights up on fire due to the drilling practices with natural gas. It is stunning, saddening, and sickening, I believe, to watch this. You were working on a sequel. What did you hope to capture on tape that you would put in the sequel?
This is a very particular and important hearing. This was the Republicans holding a hearing with a panel full of gas lobbyists on the Science and Technology Committee to attack a 3.5-year EPA investigation, which we've been following very closely, of the residents of Pavilion, Wyoming. They're featured in Gasland. We've been following their story in Gasland too. EPA came out and said fracking is the likely cause of the water contamination, 50 times the level of benzene in the groundwater that's safe for human health. Now, what the Republicans were doing was they were loading up a panel with gas lobbyists and forging a very ugly attack on the science within the Science Committee.
And you believe they were fundamentally attacking science here. This is not opinion. This is not theory. This is science you were exposing.
Well, yeah, it was a very meticulous 3.5-year investigation. And they opened the statements, as I was told, I was actually in jail at the time, with an outright attack on the EPA, with no irony at all. And here you have an investigator looking at the truth on the stand, EPA, being attacked, and you have the journalist trying to report on this situation being hauled away in handcuffs. This is a brazen attack on civil liberties, on science, on the freedom of the press, and on all these families who have come forward and petitioned for the EPA, the federal EPA, to come in and examine groundwater contamination as a result of hydraulic fracturing. So it's very clear what happened here. It's also very clear the short-sightedness of this particular approach to government by the Republicans. This has backfired on them to throw me in jail, just as the campaign for fracking has backfired, because what it does is contaminate groundwater. So you have a short-term effect, an impulse, throw this guy in jail, frack all over the place, let's get a short-term money, and then we see a long-term effect of repercussions. I think people that are this short-sighted should not be in government.
Well, I know that your documentary you were working on, you've told me you're almost done with it, and I know that the sequel will catch as many eyes and hopefully wake up as many people as the first one. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I'm happy in your busyness and getting out of the, they call it the pokey anymore? I don't know.
I really don't know.
Thank you. And I hope you don't know again. Thank you, Frank.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Absolutely. Yeah.